Hi everyone, it's Tom from MonTac here. What we're going to start off with is basically what's on every card. So, what are the characteristics of every card? So, how the game is played is basically at the start of your turn you roll a die, a 6-sided die, and whatever that die is, you can play whatever that class is. So basically if you roll a 4, you can play class 4 cards and below. Okay? So, etc. So if you roll a 1, only class 1s, roll a 6 and below, you get it. So, we'll start off with what a monster card looks like. So you have this card, it's called Illusion Dragon, and the name is here. You have the bio, which is here. And you have the specialty, which is basically its effect, what it does. And at the bottom you have its power. Now here we have the type. It's a tactical dragon. So every monster in this game has multiple types. And in the top right, it's a 5. So you have to roll a 5 or a 6 for it to be played. So that's basically what it is. So what I do is I have the name there, Illusion Dragon, and then we have the bio. So this, I like to include a bio for every single monster. It just gives it a bit more of a character. So some say there are 2, some say there are 1. All that is known is that its power is undeniable. So what it does is it can count as 2 monsters while in play, and that reflects well with the dragon deck. So that's it's got 1500 power, and so that's what the monster cards generally look like. Now we get to the tactical cards. Tactical cards. Well, this one's called Monster Transfer. It just has the name here, and then what it does here. It's called the effect. Now on the top right hand, you'll notice it's a 1, which means any roll you can play it. Now you might notice it is a blue. It has a blue diamond. Now what this means is this card can only be played on your turn. Right? Now the reason the monsters don't have this is because monsters can only be played on your turn. Right? But tacticals, some of them can play on your enemy's turn as well. So this one is a blue 1, which means you can play it on your turn, and it has a little tells you when, so it's during your preparation stage. I'll go through the stages in a little bit, but I'm just showing you guys what's on each card. So there's a blue 1, only played on your turn. You can roll any number, you'll get it. Next, we have a card called Duo Cleaver. Same thing, we got the name, and we have the effect. And it also has, in this one, in the top right, a red diamond. Now what this red diamond means is you can play on either player's turn, which means, basically enemy's turn, your turn, doesn't matter, can be played. Now, it is a 2, which means you have to roll at least a 2 to be able to play it. So you can roll a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6, but if you roll a 1, you cannot play it. And there's a rarity there, above the little bio, I love the name. It's a rare. So now I've shown you that, I will show you what a synergy is. Now what a synergy is it requires 2 different monsters to be in your perish pile to play it. So I will grab this synergy here. It's called Rapture Dragon Invictus. What this card requires is you to have Apocalypse Dragon, Pharaoh Rex, and Divine Dragon Xerxes in your perish pile. Now what the perish pile is it's basically where your cards go after they are either used or perish, after they have been destroyed in conflict or due to a tactical effect or monster specialty. So the cards it requires are these 2 monsters. When they're in your perish pile, they're 2 class 6 dragons. But when they're in your perish pile, you can now play this card from your asset pile. Now your asset pile is not in your deck, it is a separate entity, and you can only have up to 5 cards in your asset pile. Now, basically as you can see, it's got a type, Divine Dragon, it has the name, Rapture Dragon Invictus, bio, your time is up, judgment consumes you, and condition. Condition is your specialty and what it requires to play it. So as you can see, Apocalypse Dragon, Pharaoh Rex, and Divine Dragon Xerxes are in your perish pile. When played, all monsters in play that are not divine perish, so all non-divine type. It's 3300 power. So what it is it's usually synergies are the combined power of both monsters used to play it. And in the top right corner, you can see it has a star instead of a diamond or a square. And what the star requires is a star is a sign for a synergy, and it means how, and the number means how many turns it's in play. Because what synergies do is they're not permanent. Usually they're not permanent. What this means is they only last a certain amount of turns. So he only lasts one turn in play. So what these cards are supposed to be is, they're supposed to be like the ace in the hole you bring out when you're in a lot of trouble. But it's a great card for clearing the board and setting up your plays. Now, we get on to the the strongest monsters in the game. And these are called Apex monsters. But what they are is they're higher level synergy monsters. And what they require are 2 synergies to be in the Perish pile. So this card is called Utopia Dragon Invictus. And what it does is it requires Rapture Dragon Invictus and 1 other dragon synergy to have perished. Which means you require both of these guys to be in your Perish pile. 2 synergy dragon synergies. Okay? Now, when he's played, all Apexes only last for 1 turn. So this Apex is 7,000 power, requires those 2 to have perished to be able to play it, and it has the specialty, select 1 monster in play, it loses its specialty until it perishes. Which means you basically stop any monster in play from using its specialty until it dies. Now it has a sleeper skill. And what a sleeper skill is it's an effect that's given to a monster once its specialty has been removed. So he has his own sleeper skill. So if someone removed his specialty, or he can remove his own specialty. And what they can only be used once on the one time you have this guy lose his specialty. It says your enemy must choose 1 of 3 options. Their next turn is skipped, or all their monsters perish, or they lose 3 health points. So everyone starts off with 5 health points, and there are different little cards that can add health points, take away health points, but this is one of the few that actually take away. So in the top right corner, it's the same thing. He only lasts 1 turn, and in the top left corner, you're wondering, what is that? Well, basically, it just shows you that it is an Apex monster, and what it does is the actual type. It can be any of the types. It can use any of the types from all the monsters that created it, all the things that made it. So the things that made it were Divine Dragon and a Dragon Fighter. So it is all those types combined. It is a Dragon Fighter, is a Divine Dragon Fighter, really. And it can use any type it wishes. So it's very versatile, and the bio, the Guardian of the Post-Rapture Civilization. So that is Apexes. So they're all the basic monsters. There is one more thing. Now what these are, they're called tacticlysms. Now what a tacticlysm is these can only be used when you command a synergy. So as you can see, this, basically you need to have one of these synergies out. So you can have this card, it's called Mercenary Dragon Aethel Red. So while he's in play, you can only use this while he's in play. Now what this is, you might be wondering, but how do I know that? Well, in the top right corner, it has 1+. Now what that also means is you have to have a synergy with a timer of 1 or higher. And his timer is 3, so that allows him to be played. Also, it's a red spiral, which means that it can be played on either player's turn. And it also, you might be wondering, but why have I made tacticalisms? Why not just have a tactical? Well, tacticals cannot be used to power up regular monsters. Tacticals cannot power up synergies. Only tacticalisms can. So these tacticalisms all have a bio. So this one's called Dragon War Gear Carnage Armor, worn by those who are in need of strength in times of peril. Basically, you can select a monster in play, gains 1,000 power, and it can remove a specialty, etc., etc. If you want to read it, it's all there. But what happens is, if you use a tacticalism card on a regular monster, at the end of the turn that it was used, that monster perishes. So these cards can add like almost 10,000 power sometimes to a monster. That's why if it's used on a regular monster that's always permanent, it's way too strong. So in order to play this, In order to play that tacticlysm, he has to be in play, or a synergy with a timer of 1 or higher, and all synergies are a timer of 1 or higher. Except if the synergy has its timer removed. But we can talk about that another time. So this one adds 1,000 power. You can add it to Aethel Red, but as soon as Aethel Red perishes, so does the tacticlysm. It doesn't stay in play.